Rings is the third installment of the American Ring film series based off the Japanese film Ringu. Unfortunately, this doesn't really connect to the other two movies with Naomi Watts. Aiden doesn't show up, nothing from the first movie shows up except for Samara and her creepy tape. And instead of having an interesting character of Naomi Watts playing the lead role in this movie, we instead get a college kid and his girlfriend. He goes off to college, whoops, he watches the tape. The girl gets worried, comes up there, whoops, she watches the tape. Now they have to save themselves from Samara and do some stuff. If you couldn't tell, I'm really not that interested to talk about this film, not to spoil my thoughts already, but walking out of the film, I just felt so bleh. And I didn't even like the movie. This isn't even just a straight up mediocre movie. It is a bad movie, but I just don't care. I thought for sure that this was going to be a really terrible film because it's 3 days after a January release. I guess it just overflowed from January into February, and the original trailer that I watched was frickin' terrible. When they got to that airplane crash, I was like, this movie is going to be horrendous. Luckily, they get that airplane scene out of the way in the first couple minutes, so at least we didn't have to deal with it, like, later on. But still, that's a terrible scene where Samara climbs out of the cockpit's monitor, like that tiny monitor screen. There are some things that I like about this film. Unfortunately, it's not enough for me to recommend it. One of the things I liked was the college dude. I'm forgetting the actor's name and the character's name for that matter, but I do remember that this guy was in The Fifth Wave, and after seeing him in The Fifth Wave, I thought, this guy isn't very good. He's not really gonna go places acting-wise, and after seeing Mr. Crazy Eyebrows in this movie, I thought, he's not the best actor ever, but he did deliver a fine performance, and I can see him delivering an amazing performance in a much better film. And also, Vincent D'Onofrio shows up for a bit. I thought he was going to be the same character he was in Sinister, but really he isn't, and I appreciated that. He was very fun to watch also. Vincent D'Onofrio was great. And there is a neat little twist in the film. Not the very end of the film, but like the beginning of the third act, I was like, oh, You got me somewhat intrigued, movie. Besides those things, though, this movie really isn't that good. Our main actress here, hey, editor, that's just a picture of a mannequin. Get that out of here. There we go, much better. Our main actress here playing the character of Julia, the lead star in this film, is so stiff and so wooden that my sister and I agreed that she felt like a real-life mannequin from the mall trying to act. She was so bad in this film. I honestly wish that the movie was about the college dude because at least his performance felt somewhat genuine, but then whenever we cut to this girl, her lines were so wow. When I saw that Johnny Galecki from Big Bang Theory fame was going to be in this movie, I thought, oh, okay, is he going to be the comedic relief in this horror film? And he isn't. He's the somewhat science professor. I forget what he teaches at the college, but he's really boring in this movie. And I'm honestly really bummed out to say this because I like Johnny Galecki in The Big Bang Theory, but in this movie you could tell he did not really care to be here. You could just feel how bored he was. You could feel that he just wanted to show up for a day, say some lines, and just head right back over to Big Bang Theory. And what was really confusing about his character is that when he watches the VHS tape, all of a sudden, he already knows how to get Samara off your back. He found out a way to take the VHS tape and put it on your computer, and he convinced people to watch it and to copy it on their MacBooks and send it around. And I was like, how did you find out how to even copy the VHS in the first place? Because Naomi Watts in the first movie didn't find that out until the very end of the film. So how come this dude finds it out right away? Another thing I was really disappointed about was this whole social media thing they were promoting. From the trailers, it seemed like the VHS tape had gone viral on YouTube and people were sending it around through emails, and instead they don't really focus on the whole YouTube social media viral stuff. Instead, it's just some people that have it on their MacBooks and they copy it and maybe put it on a flash drive. They only really focus on social media and the email stuff like at the very end of the movie, which honestly I was really bummed out about because I would have loved to see how they executed that for this film. and I guess I'll never know how they'll do it. Samara was another disappointing aspect of this movie, mainly because I found out that they hired a contortionist to play her, the same one from The Devil Inside, I think. And I thought, okay, Samara's gonna do some freaky stuff. She's gonna put her leg over her shoulder, she's gonna like bend her arm backwards and stuff like that. And I was like, alright, I can't wait to see what Samara does. And she crawls out of a TV, she stands around, she'll like jump cut from one place of the room to another. She makes cicadas show up a lot, and she's really not that scary. I remember in the first Ring movie, she was terrifying, and then the Ring 2, not too much, and then Rings, it feels like she wasn't even supposed to be in this movie. They just kind of wrote her in at the last second because they realized, oh, this is kind of similar to that one movie, Ring. The scares in this movie are also completely terrible. The majority of them are jump scares, and the worst kind of jump scares. Like, at one point, two characters are leaning down at a graveyard investigating Samara and all that, and all of a sudden a dog shows up right next to their ears and just barks as loud as it can. And I was just like, you guys didn't hear that dog coming up. We didn't hear him barking like from over there. We didn't even hear the man going like, hey, what are you guys doing over there? Holding the dog, like nothing to indicate that something was coming that way. Like normally you would just kind of notice, oh, there's a guy walking this way. You'd hear it. But not in this movie, I guess, because there's so many jump scares where people will just turn around and they'll be like, oh, there's something scary, never mind, it's something innocent. Another really disappointing thing about this movie, though, was that in the trailer, they were hinting at something else happening that was different than the other Ring films. And while I was watching this movie, I was like, alright, this is pretty bad, but where was that one thing you were hinting at? Like, I'm not really seeing much of what you were showing in that trailer. And I was thinking, were there reshoots where they cut all this out, where they just changed the plot around because it didn't fit, only to find out that near the last 5 minutes of the film, that thing that I saw hinted at in the trailers was just all coming out right here. And I was like, no way. Did you really just not care this much that you decided to put in the big twist of the movie in the trailer and promote it like that was the big plot? Are you for real, Paramount? The majority of this film, instead of that one thing they hinted at that I won't spoil in case you haven't seen the trailer, is the two college lovers going around investigating more of the mythology of Samara, and I don't really think it adds up what they found out. I'm thinking like, well, if this is what's happening here, then what about here? Wait, what? Maybe I just need to go back and watch the original Ring film, but from what I saw in Rings, it just isn't connecting. Overall, Rings, yeah, it's a pretty bad horror film, obviously. I don't think anyone's really surprised by that, but I'm really not pissed off at it. It's bad, but it's not the worst thing ever. The Bye Bye Man is a much worse horror film. The college dude was good, Vincent D'Onofrio was good. That one thing that happened that was a twist before the third act, I like that they did that, but a lot of this movie is really terrible. I would not recommend you see this film, and I'm gonna give Rings a D+. I hope they're not gonna make any more of these films unless they bring back Gore Verbinski, because it seems like he's the only one that can do them amazingly. But if you've seen Rings, leave in the comments below of what you thought of it, and as always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.